for the minutes of our regular meeting of Monday, August 3rd, 2015.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. For 171-2015, it's for the general fund invoices from August 1st through August 31st, 2015. Motion?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
4 yeas and 1 nay. Carol? All right, for these couple of reports, Bill, do you have any things to tell us or updates?
Yes, I do. This past Friday, the department underwent an MS4 audit with the township manager and the engineers from Gateway Engineers. They reviewed the activities of the department, and I think we did pretty well. It was a 6-hour audit whereby they, with the PAD, yes, PADEP. And basically what they were doing was looking for the township's compliance with the conditions of their MS4 permit. And they went through areas such as training, street sweeping, snow removal and de-icing, inlet and outfall cleaning, right-of-way maintenance, storm sewer inspections and cleaning. This all is required to be recorded now when we do work activities like that. We have to document all of this. New construction and land disturbances, leaf and yard debris pickup, vehicle maintenance operations, fueling, vehicle washing, parks and building maintenance, and our disposal procedures. And I think, based on just a general feel for the that I was getting from the inspection staff from the DEP, we did fairly well. We have some work to do as far as training and documentation, but we will await their report and then act on their recommendations once we receive that. The department is busy right now paving. Last week we completed paving operations up on Grand Alley. We're currently underway over on Johnson Street over to McDonald. We expect to complete that paving here by the end of the week. A couple of roads that are still on the agenda for us to get to: Bishop Hill, Hickory Grade Road, Coleman Road, Proccio Road, and Grange Road. So we still have the better part of 2 months to go, and we are hard at the paving operations right now. So that's pretty much what I have.
Thank you, Bill. Dan, our engineer.
One item that I wanted to bring up as an extension to the agenda. We received a late request last week for a reduction of funds in the Heinrich Plan of Lots. The Heinrich Plan of Lots is located up along East Bishop Road. It was completed back in 2012, but there was one major repair that needed to be completed to the road. Mr. Heinrich finally got that work completed up there. He submitted an invoice from Ellis Asphalt Paving, so not to hold up the payment related to that completion. If the board would consider a partial reduction of funds for the Heinrich Plan of Lots in the amount of $14,750 tonight, based upon my recommendation, there'll still be $9,430.20 to remain to complete the rest of the punch list items. But I spoke to Mr. Heinrich tonight, and I'm going to meet with him out there. Hopefully we can close this thing out here in the next month or so. So I guess it would be 172,205.15 if you guys want to consider that.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Moved and seconded for the reduction.
Dan, what was the amount again?
$14,750.
Moved and seconded. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Just to continue on with what Bill said related to the MS4 permit, we've been making good progress meeting as a team, that being Bill's department, Bruce, myself, Ryan Berner from my office, and we're all working together. I think the MS4 permit is going to be a continual effort. It's not something that's going to go away after we've had one audit. It's going to be a way of thinking that we have to do as a municipality, and I think we've made a good start. But Ryan gave me a little summary of the audit from Friday. And I want to speak about this because we get credit for speaking about these things at the township meeting. This is public education. So we're getting public education credits for our MS4 permit, that we can report that we we spoke about something in a public meeting. So
Can you, Dan, I'm going to ask you this, can you say what the MS4 is? I have questions about it, and I don't know how many people or residents know what you're talking about.
in simple terms, the MS4 is a municipal separate storm sewer system. We have a separate storm and sanitary system. They're not combined. We meet a certain population density requirement, so therefore we fall under the requirements of having an MS4 permit. In simplified terms, the township is responsible for all the water, stormwater, where it outfalls to the creeks. That's the best way, simplest way to put it. And there's a number of different things that the DEP actually is, who's administrating this for the EPA, requires us to go through a number of different things, including public education about what you put into storm sewers, public outreach, where you actually get the public involved in making improvements, doing things that you can improve the quality of water in your system. There's also requirements for construction. That would be more on Bruce and my department to watch the development that goes on. And then there's also good housekeeping things that Bill described earlier. They're all important things that we need to do. In addition to that, they want us to be out there doing what we call illicit discharge detection. That being, if something gets dumped into the storm sewer system, they expect us to find out what it is and have it eliminated. So it's a very intense process. The first audit that was conducted on Friday, Cecil was one of the first communities to be audited. We did have some preparation that went into those audits. We met at least 2 times, Bill, Dawn, and I, and Bruce, and we went through a series of things, and I think we were in pretty good shape by the time they got here on Friday. The intent of the audit was to understand the efforts the township has conducted, believe it or not, over the past 10 years that we've had this permit. They're not assessing fines or penalties related to this audit, as they were here to help and guide us mostly. They did mention that this is the first real attempt at the enforcement of a permit by the regulators. They also did mention that EPA is conducting random audits in central Pennsylvania, but they're expected to move into western Pennsylvania at some point. Their audits are conducted by a third party and much more likely to issue fines and penalties for non-compliance. And those fines and penalties can be as much as $10,000 a day under the Clean Water Act, so they are significant. They reviewed the documentation of the township's efforts. We put together some nice binders that have our goals and all of our materials together, so that if anybody walks in at any time and they want to see what we've done, we have that documentation in place. Although the township is currently conducting numerous compliance efforts, DEP did provide some recommendations on additional items to implement for the purpose of increased compliance, and I'm just going to give you those and then I'll be quiet. Some of the items recommended included but not limited to developing a dedicated stormwater page on the township website. Number 2 was obtaining contact information for target audience representatives. That would be people that we want to get out and do the public education with. Number 3 was developing a method for public feedback if members of the public cannot attend a public meeting. Number 4 was determining the source of dry weather flow, even if water is completely clean. In other words, if we have streams that are flowing all the time, is that a result of the spring? Is it something else out there? The next one was development of a GIS layer showing the location of acid mine drainage. The next one was understanding the location of all areas of potential runoff from construction sites. The next was development of a GIS layer showing all stormwater best management practices and ownership in the township. And then finally was development of a township-wide MS4 training program. So that's a lot. And I think that, they've given us that, and I think our goal is just to show progress, and we'll continue to meet and do the things we need to do, probably come back and speak about these things as much as we can, where there's something good to talk about at the public meetings. So that's the summary on the MS4 audit. The only other thing I'd like to report on and let the board know is that on the development side of things, we have a number of developers looking to dedicate roads in the next month or two. Bill and I have talked. We're going to use his new personnel to make sure that Public Works and the engineer's office are in sync with these recommendations and making sure we get everything covered. So we have roads out there in Mission Hills that may be dedicated. Oak Brook has made a request. We have a request for the Timber Run lots, which were paved last year, and I think that's the extent. That there's a good bit of roads there, so I expect that to be upcoming. And then on the Cool Valley front, there is another meeting coming up scheduled for September with PennDOT Executive Joe Shazor and a number of communities regarding the South Point interchange. Mike Haberman of our office will be attending the meeting on behalf of the township. I've also been contacted by the developer's engineer. It sounds like that Mr. Sabatino is wanting to get moving with Cool Valley here sometime in the near future. And as things come around, we'll advise the board as to what's going on and what to expect. That's it.